to Bass Week at Recording Tips on Facebook. This is my overview slash kind of interest video on how I built my Telecaster. I wanted a guitar that was going to do it was going to complement the Les Paul and the acoustic there. This has Seymour Duncan pearly gates in it, which are, I guess, the quintessential kind of Les Paul sound. They're PAF style 56, 58, very, very creamy, kind of fairly low gain, but can be really good for recording with. They've got a very versatile sound. Acoustic is obviously an acoustic. So I was trying to get a guitar that would sit nicely with those two. Telecaster seemed like an obvious one. I could have got a Strat, but I kind of figured Telecaster would give me a clearer cut from the Strat to the Les Paul. I didn't really see the need for the mid pickup with these two in mind. So the Telecaster itself is a pine body. It's a 5-piece. It's actually cut out of an old tabletop, hence why it's got so many pieces in it. And it has a P90 as the neck, which is a bare knuckle pickup modelled on the, I guess, like the 56 gold tops that Gibson were making. And then it has a custom wound 51 spec Blackguard bridge pickup by a builder in the north of England, and a beautiful tortoiseshell pickguard. So if we have a look on screen, you've got this diagram, which is, if anyone's done any guitar wiring, will be fairly familiar in the layout. If you substitute the single coil here for the P90, this is essentially what the first / 1.5 versions of the Telecaster were, and it's quite an interesting setup, bearing in mind this is before the electric bass was a thing. So you had, if you got a three-way switch, and all the way back towards the bridge gives you the bridge pickup with a blend with the neck, no tone, just blending in the neck, and then if you have it in the middle, you have just the neck pickup with, again, no tone, just wide open, straight to jack, and then all the way forward is the neck pickup with a complete 100% tone roll off, which was supposedly implemented to please kind of jazz musicians and extend the range of the instrument. It wasn't until, like, 53, I think 52, that the P bass came out, or the electric bass, I guess it was just a Fender bass, came out. So this was this forward position was essentially adopted as the electric bass sound, or a way to get what would become the electric bass sound. My guitar is wired slightly differently because I do have a P90 in the neck, and also I decided to wire the blend dial here as a tone, because I think that's a little bit more useful than having the ability to blend two positions together and then having one that is essentially a bass option. So if we jump out of the picture here for a second and have a look at what I've got it running through, we have a tuner, which I used a minute ago to tune everything up, and I'm running a soft tube CL1B just to keep the input levels consistent, which I'll leave here for you. Now it is still obviously a guitar, so the octave ranges are going to be a little bit out, so I'm just using the Nembrini Quinta to drop the octave essentially as I play. I think it's actually supposed to be a pitch shifter slash fuzz, but it does quite well at just dropping the octave on the guitar. And then for the amp, we're using the soft tube plexi, or the super lead, sorry. So if I bring up the input here and display a couple of notes, you should be able to hear the effect. So as you can hear, that's with the pitch shifter on. If I just take that off, just for curiosity's sake, you'll hear what I mean by it not being quite bass levels in terms of the octave. So it is worth noting I have the tone all the way up at this point. If I take it down to about halfway, you can hear it gets quite dark quite quickly. So that's quite a good range on it. I'm just going to bring the level back up, sorry, the tone back up, just so we can get a slightly stronger signal through to the VSTs here, because it did notice a level drop. So we did have a few bass lines suggested to us from the group on Facebook, which is Steve Hershey's Recording Tips. If you're into music production, even instrumentalists, mixing, mastering, there's an awful lot of really intelligent people over there. This was a suggestion, which was Blood and Roses by the Smithereens. I apologise if I murdered that. I have not spent enough time practicing it, but that was my attempt. And then we had the Short Skirt and Long Jacket by Cake, which was another one suggested that I try for entertainment's sake and something to listen to. So that was just the intro few bars there, and then a few classics that everyone kind of knows. the first songs that I learnt to play on guitar, which was Longview by Green Day. So whilst it isn't a full-on bass guitar in terms of the kind of absolute refined notes you can get out of it, and also this is bearing in mind I'm playing through a audio interface into some VSTs, so I'm pretty sure if you had a dedicated bass amp it would be a lot cleaner. But yeah, no, that's how I kind of get a few bass lines down on a guitar. I have videos out already on how I would tackle this with synth-based instruments. I'd appreciate a like and subscribe if you found this interesting or if you learned anything. And yeah, leave some comments down below what you use for your bass lines. It's really cool to learn from you guys, and see you in the next video.